Round and round the earth is turning, turning always from darkness to light. If it is yours to do now, please close your eyes and let us breathe together deeply. In and out. In and out. Imagine, if you will, that there are roots growing out of your feet. Feel them growing down through the floor until they find Mother Earth below us. The earth is cool and damp this time of year. Feel your roots growing down into the soil, down deep into Mother Earth. Feel yourself breathing in that good earth healing energy. In and out. In and out. In and out. With every breath in, you feel that earth energy coming up your roots. Up your roots and into your feet. Up your legs and hips. Up into your belly and your chest. Across the back of your shoulders, then down into your arms, and up into your neck, and into your face, and out the top of your head. Feel the earth energy coursing through you. Feel it in your branches as they reach to the sky. We all drink the same water. We all breathe the same air. We are all rooted in the same earth. We all feel the same sun. You may open your eyes now, but continue to feel your roots still in the earth, entangled with the roots of others in this community. And know, for right now, we are members of an earth-loving clan. We are a circle.
A poem by Rainer Maria Rilke. I live my life in widening circles that reach out across the world. I may not complete this last one, but I give myself to it. I circle around God, around the primordial tower. I've been circling for thousands of years, and I still don't know. Am I a falcon, a storm, or a great song?
The earth-centered pagan tradition from which this service is based is grounded in respect and reverence for the natural world. It is customary in this tradition to begin ceremonies by creating a circle and calling upon the four directions as those who came before us may have done. We cast a circle within a circle with no beginning and never ending. On the cusp of the winter solstice, in honor of the traditions that celebrate this time of the longest night, we will light 5 chalices. I call on Joel to come and light the chalices for us. We'll start with a chalice for the sun, which brings light and warmth and light to our planet. It is beautiful and radiant in all its splendor and power. We light a chalice for the spirits of the East, for the air that gives us life, for sunrises and mornings, and the opportunities that come with each new day. We light a chalice for the spirits of the South, for heat and energy and fire, and the promise of transformation and change. We light a chalice for the spirit of the West, for water and rain, cool and soothing, flowing through our lives. We light a chalice for the spirits of the North, for the earth beneath our feet, rocky and ancient, strong and grounded in wisdom. Air in the East, fire in the South, water in the West, earth in the North. We call our blessings upon them all.
Here, our great mother, robed in midnight, around whose head shines all the suns, the moons of the universe, as she speaks to us, saying, "Blessed is the darkness, for in the darkness we conceive. Blessed is the light, for in the light we give birth. As conception is to birth, so darkness is to light. Know that both the darkness and the light, the sound and the silence, are sacred unto me, who is all of creation."
Imagine, if you will, a time maybe 50,000 years ago or more, when people were just beginning to emerge from the long sleep into a more conscious awareness of the world around them. Just now, they are noticing the passage of time. Just now, they are noticing a change in the air. And just now, perhaps, one among them is noticing that the sun, which used to rise over there and go high across the sky, is now rising over here and doesn't rise so high anymore and doesn't stay so long in the sky. They wonder, will the sun continue to move away from us? Will it someday not come at all and we will have to live our lives in darkness? This is the time of the midwinter solstice, the time when the earth tilts away from the sun, so that for those of us in the northern hemisphere, The sun's time is shorter and the night time is longer. The sun rises farther south each day, and its passage is not as high overhead, but now low in the sky. From time immemorial, people have recognized this time of the year when the earth tilts on its axis away from the sun as monumental. Long before there were Christians or Jews or Muslims or Buddhists, sacred stories and religious ceremonies abound as people tried to ward off the cold of winter, tried to keep the flame of their fire alive through the dark nights, and tried to hope for the return of the sun. Perhaps you have heard the story of the Holly King and the Oak Child. It starts on a deep, dark night in an ancient forest. Winter had blown in early from the north that year, crowning the leaden ground with thick frosts. Under a sharp sky of stars stood the forest, barren and brittle. And somewhere beneath its lonely trunks dwelt the Holly King. The Holly King was a fearsome creature. He was covered with deeply rutted bark, home to all sorts of tiny, creepy, crawly creatures. A small red bird hopped around him, pecking the lice and spiders out of his deep wooden veins. The sharp edges of his leaves glittered in the frosty air, and the deep rumbling breaths echoed between his jagged, splintered teeth. This time of year, the time of frost and darkness and bitter cold, belongs to the Holly King. He had been growing in strength and stature since his birth on the longest day of summer. On that very day, when he emerged from a seed, he fought for control of the kingdom. His reign had been one of the most auspicious of any Holly King. He had brought forest fires and drought, followed by terrible storms and floods. He had persuaded the north wind to ravage the land while the trees were still golden with autumn, destroying the things that creatures needed to survive the long, dark days of his rule. In our culture, this time of year can be difficult. It is dark when we leave home in the morning. It is dark when we come home. The holidays, so commercialized and politicized, can bring a sense of discomfort and alienation. We may worry about money. We may struggle with feelings of loneliness. We may feel overwhelmed by the expectations that we place on ourselves. It is cold, it is dark, it is exhausting. Sometimes it feels as if we too shall not be able to survive the long, dark days of the Holly King's rule. We are grieving, full of uncertainty and fear. We are waiting alone in the darkness of these days, afraid that spring may never come.
Do not be afraid of the darkness. Dark is the rich, fertile earth that cradles the seed, nourishing growth. Dark is a soft night that cradles us to rest. Only in darkness can the stars shine across the vastness of space. Only in darkness is the moon's dance so clear. There is mystery woven in the dark, quiet hours. There is magic in the darkness. Do not be afraid. We're born of this magic. It fills our dreams that root, unravel, and we reweave themselves in the shelter of the deep, dark night. The dark has its own hue, its own resonance, its own breath. It fills our soul, not with despair, but with promise. Dark is the gestation of our deep and knowing self. Dark is the cave where we rest and renew our soul. We are born of the darkness, and each night we return to the deep, moist womb of our beginnings. Do not be afraid of the darkness, for in the depth of that very darkness comes the first glimpse of our own light, the pure inner light of love and knowing. As it glows and grows, the darkness recedes. And as we shed our light, we shed our fear and revel in the wonder of all that is revealed. So do not rush the coming of the sun. Do not crave the lengthening of the day. Celebrate the darkness, here and now, a time of richness, a time of joy.
The Holly King knew that a day was coming when the old Oak King's son would challenge him for the throne, bringing life and warmth back to the frozen kingdom. This story was so old that it had passed into legend. On the shortest day, when the Holly King's powers were at their peak, the newborn Oak King would fight and defeat him. Then, on the longest day, the newborn Holly King would fight and defeat the reigning Oak King. And so the cycle continued in blood and brutality for as long as the trees could remember. So it had been every year, and so it should be until the end of time, but not this year. This year, the Holly King would be ready for the challenger. This year, he would defeat the king of oak and keep the kingdom in perpetual darkness of winter. He just had to wait for the right moment. On Thursday night, the night of the midwinter solstice, the darkness will reach its peak of power over the light. So what will we do in the dark? In the dark, we can rest. We can wait and dream of what can be. We can get ready for what will come. In the dark, we can grow like seeds deep in the soil. We can turn inward and look closely at our lives. Consider the choices we have made and examine our hopes and fears. And in the dark, we can celebrate. The ancient peoples recognized the need for celebration at this time of the year. The Persians celebrated the sun god Mithra's birth with feasts and acts of charity. The Romans celebrated Saturnalia with gift giving, food, noise, and merrymaking. The Hindus marked Diwali, and still do today, with bonfires and revelry. Perhaps the name of the holy day or the divine being honored is not as important as sharing lightness and joy at the darkest time of the year. So we light candles or burn a Yule log. We decorate our houses with light. We sing, we make merry. We seek the spirit of a child to help our way back into spring. We count our blessings and we give thanks.
All throughout these months, as the shadows have lengthened, this blessing has been gathering itself, making ready, preparing for this night. It has practiced walking in the dark, traveling with its eyes closed, feeling its way by memory, by touch, by the pull of the moon, even as it wanes. So believe me when I tell you, this blessing will reach you. Even if you have not light enough to read it, it will find you even though you cannot see it coming. You will know the moment of its arriving by the releasing of your breath you have held so long, a loosening of the clenching of your hands, the clutch around your heart, a thinning of darkness that had drawn itself around you. This blessing does not mean to take the night away, but it knows its hidden roads. It knows the resting spots along the path, knows what it means to travel in the company of a friend. So when this blessing comes, take its hand and get up. Set out on the road you cannot see. This is the night when you can trust that any direction you go, you will be walking towards the dawn.
On the darkest day of the year, a little red bird who lived among the holly king's branches whispered that she had found the newborn oak child in a far-off frosty glade. The holly king took up his blackthorn cudgel and, led by the little bird, headed deep into the forest to find his challenger. As he strode through his kingdom, the frozen ground cracked and crumbled beneath his mighty feet. Trees cowered and shivered as he passed, shrinking from the flurries of snows which swirled in his wake. Any that found themselves in his path were crushed beneath his mighty, warlike rage. The king strode into the glade, ready to fight the new Oak King to the death. But the glade was empty. Had the little bird lied? Had the Oak child hidden itself, afraid to fight? Or was this some kind of trap? The Holly King cried, "Face me, child of oak." But there came no reply. Then, from a darkened corner of the glade, there was a quiet sob. The Holly King turned and saw the Oak child lying on the icy grass with the little red bird hopping around its head. This oak was so small and weak, it was not even able to pull itself fully from its acorn. It was truly a pathetic specimen of tree, weakened by the floods and storms that the Holly King had wrought. The King of Holly exposed his splintered teeth in a ferocious smile. He would do what no other Holly King of old had done. He would defeat this pathetic Oak child, and the kingdom would remain forever in the depths of darkness. He took 3 mighty strides across the glade and towered above the infant. The babe wept and raised its pathetic branches in a sad attempt to protect itself. The Holly King laughed and raised the cudgel high above his head, ready to smash the sapling to pieces. And then, in that moment, the Holly King remembered. He remembered his own birth on the longest day and how he had leapt from the blood and the berries of his father and rolled in the pollen-filled grass. He remembered feeling the earth buzz and ripple beneath his roots. He remembered how the sun had brought a warm sheen to his dark young leaves. He closed his eyes and remembered the heat of the sun on his back. The air that day seemed to dance with life. He had heard the sound of the trees full of leaves, not cracking and creaking in a winter blizzard, but singing gently in the joyous breeze. He gazed down on the helpless, wailing Oak child at his feet, and he mourned those endlessly bright days which would never return if his reign continued. A dim flicker of light and promise ran through the Oak child's tiny branches. The Holly King took a deep breath, and he brought his cudgel down hard, burying it deep in the ground near where the crying Oak child lay. He helped the infant out of the acorn, and he bade the birch trees to gather round the child and nurse him through spring. "I will be back," said the Holly King, "when night and day are in balance. Not to fight, but to fill my kingdom with light and life."
In the shadowed quiet of winter's light, earth speaks softly of her longing because the wild places are in tears. "Come," she cries to us, "kneel down here on the frosty grass and feel the prayer buried in the ground. Bend your ear to my heart and listen hard. Love this world," she whispers, "distill peace from the snow and water the cities with mercy. Weave wonder from the forest and clothe grief with beauty. Rest in the rhythm of the turning year. Trace the bending arc rounding the curve toward justice, and vow anew to do no harm. The winter trees stand watch, haloed in the last gleams of the slanting sun. Glory sings here. Heaven echoes the call. Repeat the sounding joy. Make your life an answer.
Let us spend some time with what has been said. For those of you watching at home, we are going to put a candle slide up on the screen, and there's going to be a long stretch of silence. Don't worry, you're not experiencing technical difficulties. We invite you to sit in silence and remember. Remember, just because it has always been does not mean that it always shall be. Remember, you are the blessing we have been waiting for. Remember, there is a light inside of you, a light of kindness, of empathy, of love. Remember, your life is an answer. Remember, you have power to bring light and life to your part of the kingdom. Now let us breathe deeply and reflect. What light do you bring to the world? What is stopping you from shining? We will end our silence with the ritual of the winter solstice fire. Let us each take into our hands a candle, a solstice candle. When I come and I bring you the flame, please pass it to your neighbor so we may fill the sanctuary with light. We approach the night of ancient fear and ancient joy. Those who have gone before us were fearful of what lurked outside the ring of fire, of warmth and light. As we light this fire, we ask for the fullness of His flame to protect each of us from what we fear the most and guide us towards our perfect light and joy. May we each be encircled by the fire of warmth and love, and by the flame of our kinship with each other. On solstice night, it was the ancient custom to exchange gifts of light, symbolic of the new light of the sun. Therefore, make ready for the gift of light. We are here to take the light into our hands and to spread it in the world. Imagine how much brighter we are when we shine together. Light of star, light of candle, light of fire, lamp light, love light. Let us share the gift of light. Sun, 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 let it come. Welcome to the sun. You may extinguish your flames now, and we will hear the last part of the story. The Holly King was true to his word. As he grew older, his powers diminished and his grip on the winter weakened. Warm breezes blew in from the south, and the days slowly began to grow longer. When day was in balance with night, the trees began to bud and blossom, and the aging Holly King made his way back to the glade. He leaned heavily on a blackthorn staff to support him. The little red bird hopped in front to herald his approach. The weakling child had grown into a fine oak tree, beautiful of limb and radiant of light. The oak reached out his hand and helped the Holly King into the middle of the glade. In the rays of the warming sunshine, the Holly King removed his crown and whispered, "Remember what I have done for you. When the light and dark are in balance again, hand over your kingdom to a child who will grow from the blood of my berries." The young oak agreed and announced that the days of kings and conflicts were over. From that point onward, the children of the oak and the holly would be guardians of the land, not its rulers. As the Holly King's final breath rumbled beneath his splintered teeth, the little red bird plucked out a single berry and flew deep into the forest so a new holly child would be born and the story would continue. The oak child was true to his word, as was every oak and holly that followed. They passed the land peacefully between the two, since that fearsome Holly King spared the oak child. And so it shall be until the end of time. So we have taken a journey into the realm of the Holly King. We dreamt in the darkness and remembered the power of light and warmth and the promise of better days to come. We have each found our light and remembered that when we shine together, we shine more brightly. We have blown out our candles, but we will not allow our lights to grow dim. We will carry the light with us always. We will carry it to our family and friends. We will carry it to a hurting world. Lux in terra, eternal light. Now, if it is yours to do, please close your eyes one more time and let us breathe deeply together once again. In and out. In and out. In and out. Remember, there are roots growing out of your feet, growing deep into Mother Earth. Feel how good that healing earth energy feels you. Up through your roots, up through your roots and to your branches, and up into the sky. We all dance in the same wind. We are all rooted in the same earth. We all drink the same water. We all need the same sun. Feel the earth, the air, the fire, the water, the spirit all around. Feel how each of us is part of the circle of life. It's a circle with no beginning and no ending, never ending.
And so the shortest day came, and the year died. And everywhere down the centuries of the snow-white world came people singing and dancing to drive the dark away. They lighted candles in the winter trees. They hung their homes with evergreen. They burned beseeching fires all night long to keep the year alive. And when the new year's sunshine blazed awake, they shouted, reveling. Through all the frosty ages, you can hear them echoing behind us. Listen. All the long echoes sing the same delight. This shortest day, as promise wakens in the sleeping land. They carol, they fest, and give thanks, and dearly love their friends, and hope for peace. And so do we, here, now, this year, and every year. Blessed Yule, blessed Yule.
Now let us extinguish the flames. We extinguish these flames, but the spirits remain. Earth in the north, water in the west, fire in the south, air in the east. We give thanks for them all. Our circle is open, but it remains unbroken. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. It's the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. Down we now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol, fa la 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 la, fa la 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 la.
Amen, Ashe, and blessed be. Thank you for being here.